Time, it's the one thing you cannot buy more of, earn back, or borrow from someone else. It's the most non-renewable resource you will ever have, and yet people treat it like it's disposable. They waste hours scrolling, procrastinating, putting things off until tomorrow. Like tomorrow is guaranteed, but here's the truth, it's not. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. And if you don't start treating your time like it matters, you'll wake up one day realizing you spent your life watching others live theirs. The most successful people you admire, the ones crushing their goals, leading teams, building empires, they don't have more hours in their day than you do. What they do have is clarity. They understand the value of time and they refuse to waste it. They don't hit snooze. They don't spend an hour debating whether or not to go to the gym. They don't schedule meetings with people who don't move them closer to their goals. Why? Because they know what every minute is worth. People ask how to become more productive, how to level up their careers, how to achieve that next goal. The first step is stop acting like time is free. It's not. Every minute you spend doing something meaningless is a minute you could have spent growing, building, learning, leading. You say you want change, but your calendar says otherwise. You say you're committed, but you're still spending your evenings binging shows instead of building the skills you need to go to the next level. It's not a motivation issue. It's a time management problem rooted in misplaced priorities. There's this mindset a lot of people have that they'll start tomorrow or next week or once they feel ready. Let me be really clear, readiness is a trap. You're never going to feel completely ready, and that's exactly why you need to start now, today, this minute. You think you have time to waste because you're young or because you've been told there's always tomorrow. But what if there's not? What if today is the only shot you get to move the needle on your future? Living with urgency doesn't mean being in a panic. It means having purpose. It means looking at your calendar and asking, does this align with who I want to become? If the answer is no, change it. Cancel the coffee meeting that leads nowhere. Turn off the TV. Wake up an hour earlier. Make room for the life you say you want, because time doesn't slow down just because you're unsure. It doesn't stop for self, doubt or fear or hesitation. It keeps going, and if you're not intentional about how you use it, it will be gone before you've even noticed. When you start to truly respect time, not just in your words, but in your actions, everything changes. You begin to set higher standards for your day. You stop tolerating distractions, small talk, and wasted hours. You move differently. You speak with purpose. You execute without waiting for permission. Because you understand the price of wasting time is far greater than the discomfort of discipline. And let's talk about discipline, because that's what this comes down to. You don't have to love every part of your routine. You don't have to feel excited to do the hard things. You just have to do them anyway. That's how you honor your time. That's how you stop operating from emotion and start operating from commitment. You either control your time or your time controls you. There is no in between. When you look back on your life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the question won't be, did I have enough time? It'll be, did I use the time I had well? The people who achieve great things aren't lucky. They're intentional. They make decisions based on where they're going, not how they feel in the moment. They don't let time slip through their fingers. They grab hold of it, they use it, and they move forward fast. So here's your challenge. Audit your day. Look at every single hour and ask yourself, did this push me forward or hold me back? Be honest, be brutal, because the clock is ticking, and it's not slowing down for anyone, especially not for those waiting for the perfect time to start. You can't afford to waste another day, not one more. Time is your most non-renewable resource. Start acting like it. Every day you delay is a day you don't get back. That's not motivational fluff, it's reality. One wasted day might not seem like much. You convince yourself it's just a break, just a reset, just a breather. But that one day turns into 2, then a week, and then suddenly you're staring at a month where nothing moved forward. No progress, no traction, no momentum, and while you were busy making excuses, someone else was moving ahead, getting sharper, more disciplined, more focused. One wasted day doesn't stay small, it multiplies. It becomes a habit, it becomes a lifestyle, and eventually it becomes a life you didn't choose but one you built through inaction. The truth is, people waste time because they assume they have more of it. There's this dangerous illusion that life will wait, that your dreams will hang around until you're finally ready to go after them, but they won't. Opportunities have an expiration date. Seasons change. People move on. You won't always have the same energy, the same clarity, or even the same window of possibility. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you're gambling with your potential. You're assuming that the life you want will still be available later, and that's not guaranteed. Most people don't realize they're wasting their lives until it's too late. They look back and wonder where the time went. They talk about what they could have, or should have, done, but they didn't do it. Not because they weren't capable, not because they lacked talent or resources, but because they didn't respect their time. They didn't act with urgency. They allowed comfort to control their choices instead of discipline. And comfort feels good in the short term, but it's a thief in the long run. It steals your ambition, it dulls your drive, and it quietly convinces you that average is good enough. If you're wasting days, you are actively building a life that isn't aligned with your values. You are trading your most valuable currency, time, for temporary distractions, scrolling, binge, watching, overscheduling yourself with things that don't move you forward, saying yes to people who drain you out of guilt, saying no to things that scare you out of fear. Wasting time doesn't always look dramatic. It often looks like being busy, but not productive. It looks like being emotionally reactive instead of intentionally proactive. It looks like settling for what's comfortable instead of chasing what's meaningful. You cannot expect a powerful life when you're making weak choices. Every day, you're either compounding progress or compounding regret. That's the real equation, and it starts with how you treat your time. If you're not waking up with intention, if you're not going to bed feeling like you showed up fully, then you are wasting time. You don't need another motivational video or quote. You need to get honest, brutally honest. Where is your time going? What are you prioritizing? What are you pretending not to know about your own habits? The scariest part is how easy it is to normalize wasting time. Everyone around you is doing it. They're living on autopilot, going through the motions, doing just enough to not fall behind, but never pushing far enough to break ahead. If you're not careful, their pace will become your pace. Their average will become your ceiling. And one day you'll wake up and realize you've spent years conforming to a life you were never meant to live, simply because you didn't want to disrupt the rhythm. But here's the good news. You can change it. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, the shift doesn't require a massive overhaul. It starts with one decision, one better choice, one non-negotiable commitment to stop giving your time to things that don't deserve it. You can take control. You can rewrite your day, your schedule, your entire routine to serve your goals. You can shift from reactive to intentional. You can create momentum where there was only stagnation. But only if you decide that wasting time is no longer acceptable, not for a minute, not for a day. Your future isn't waiting for you. It's forming right now based on what you're doing today, and if today is wasted, so is the future you're building. Wasted days become wasted lives, and a wasted life isn't about failure. It's about potential that was never realized, dreams that were never pursued, goals that were never fought for. Don't let your life become a series of regrets stacked on top of good intentions. You're capable of more, you're meant for more, but you have to start acting like it right now because every second counts, and you can't afford to lose one more. Urgency isn't panic, it's purpose. Panic is chaotic. It's emotional. It's what happens when you've ignored the warning signs for too long and suddenly realize the cost of inaction. Urgency, on the other hand, is clear. It's calm. It's rooted in knowing exactly what matters and moving toward it with focused energy. It's not about rushing through everything or burning yourself out trying to do it all. It's about choosing what actually moves the needle and acting on it now, not later, not when you feel like it, not when circumstances are perfect, but now. The problem most people face isn't that they don't have goals, it's that they lack urgency. They say they want success, change, growth, a better life, but their actions move at the speed of hesitation. They wait, they overthink, they negotiate with themselves. They wait for the right mood, the right timing, the right approval, and all that waiting disguises itself as patience, when really it's just procrastination with a mask on. Purpose-driven urgency doesn't ask for the perfect moment, it creates the moment. It takes action before everything feels 100% ready, because it understands that readiness is a luxury you can't always afford. There's a massive difference between being busy and being urgent. A lot of people fill their schedules with tasks that look productive on paper, but don't actually get them closer to their goals. They're spinning their wheels, checking boxes, responding to everything but solving nothing. Urgency cuts through that noise. It asks, what's the one thing I can do right now that matters most? It prioritizes the essential over the convenient, and once that decision is made, it demands immediate action. Not sloppily, not frantically, but with absolute clarity and speed. Urgency is a mindset. It's waking up every day with the conviction that your time is valuable and limited. It's saying no to distractions not because they're bad, but because they're not aligned with what matters most right now. It's choosing discipline over emotion, not doing what feels good, but doing what's required. It's understanding that average people delay and extraordinary people execute. And not because the extraordinary ones always feel motivated, but because they've trained themselves to act without needing a perfect emotional state to get started. You don't need more time. You need more urgency with the time you already have. If you're honest, you've probably wasted more time waiting than working. Waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for certainty, waiting for some kind of permission, but no one's coming to save you. No one's going to show up and say, now is the time. It's always been the time. The question is whether you're finally ready to stop overthinking and start moving. You can't keep outsourcing your responsibility to the future. You don't have that luxury. The longer you delay, the more momentum you lose. The more chances you miss, and most importantly, the more confidence you drain from yourself. When you live with urgency, you start moving like your goals actually matter. You stop making excuses. You don't allow other people's lack of ambition to infect your standards. You walk into the room with a different energy. You show up on time. You speak with clarity. You execute without being asked twice, because you understand that everything you do is either reinforcing your future or eroding it. Urgency gives you direction. It eliminates wasted motion. It makes you faster, sharper, more intentional. It helps you get results now instead of someday. And urgency doesn't mean doing everything faster. It means doing the right things without delay. It means facing the uncomfortable conversations, making the hard decisions, taking the risk you've been avoiding, launching the idea even if it's not perfect. Urgency doesn't demand chaos. It demands clarity followed by relentless action. It demands that you stop pretending you have unlimited time, because you don't. You don't need a sign to get started. You don't need a miracle. You need to stop treating your time like it's cheap and start acting like it's sacred. The person you want to become is built through the choices you make today, the priorities you set, the habits you reinforce, the actions you take in this very moment. Urgency is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Not someday, not soon, now. So stop moving like you've got forever. You don't. Stop living like you can afford to waste another day. You can't. The difference between success and regret is often just how quickly someone is willing to act when clarity hits. Move, decide, execute, not from fear, not from anxiety, but from a place of deep, focused purpose, because urgency isn't panic, it's power in motion. Your calendar doesn't lie. It's a mirror reflecting your true values, your real priorities, and what you're actually committed to, not what you say you care about, but what you show up for. People talk a big game about wanting growth, success, financial freedom, better health, more time with family, deeper relationships. But when you look at how they spend their days, it tells a different story. Their calendars are filled with distractions, low-impact meetings, endless scrolling, mindless entertainment, and busy work. that keeps them feeling productive while keeping them far from progress. It's not a discipline issue, it's a decision issue. Because the truth is, what gets scheduled gets done. What doesn't get scheduled is just a wish. Your time is your most valuable asset, and how you allocate it tells you everything about what you're building. If your goals aren't represented on your calendar, they aren't real goals. They're fantasies. If building a business, getting fit, developing a skill, or spending intentional time with people you love isn't blocked off in your week, it's not a priority for you. It might feel like it is, you might talk about it like it is, but without space carved out in your schedule, it's not happening, period. It's easy to blame lack of time. I'm just so busy. But busy is vague. Busy is a way to hide. Everyone is busy. The question is, busy doing what? When you say you don't have time, what you really mean is, that's not important enough for me to prioritize right now. And that's okay, as long as you're honest about it. But most people aren't. They live in denial, pretending they're just waiting for the right time, when in reality, they've made zero room for that next-level version of themselves to show up. You can't wish your way into a better life. You schedule it, you plan for it, you build it hour by hour, day by day with intention, hyper. Forming people don't wing their schedules. They know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it. They don't leave important things to chance or emotion. They don't just fit it in when they can. They make time, they create space. They treat their calendar like it's sacred, because it is. Every minute you spend is a minute invested. The only question is, are you investing it in the right things? Look at your calendar right now. Where are your priorities? Where's the time for deep focus, for strategic planning, for personal growth? Is it in there? Or is your calendar filled with other people's agendas, meetings you didn't need to accept, errands you didn't need to run, obligations you didn't question? If your day is full, but you're not moving forward, it's time to take control. Your calendar should reflect your goals, not your guilt. There's a mindset shift that has to happen. Stop treating your calendar like a reaction tool and start using it as a creation tool. Don't just use it to respond to what's happening. Use it to design the life you want. Block off your most important priorities first. Put your non-negotiables on the calendar before anything else gets added. That means scheduling your workout, scheduling your content creation, scheduling time to think, read, grow. If you don't plan your time, someone else will fill it for you, and then you'll end up busy, exhausted, and still stuck exactly where you were a year ago. Protecting your time isn't selfish, it's essential. Every yes you give to something misaligned is a no to something that matters. Your calendar is your scoreboard. It's not about being perfectly efficient every second of the day. It's about making sure your time is aligned with your vision. That alignment is what creates momentum. That's what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck in the cycle of someday. You don't rise to the level of your intentions. You rise or fall to the level of your systems. And your calendar is a system, one that either supports your goals or sabotages them. If you want to lead, grow, scale, improve, your time must be protected like your future depends on it, because it does. How you use your hours today determines the life you'll be living a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You want to change your life. Start by changing your calendar, audit it, own it. Be brutally honest with what needs to be deleted, delegated, or rescheduled. Stop waiting for time to show up for you and start showing up for it. Every hour is a choice. Every block of time is a vote for the life you're creating. So ask yourself, if someone looked at your calendar, what would they say your priorities are? More importantly, do those priorities match the life you say you want? If not, now is the time to fix it, because your calendar is your truth. And if your truth isn't aligned with your potential, you'll never get where you want to go. Every time you delay, you're making a choice, and that choice has a cost, whether you see it or not. That hesitation, that postponement, that I'll do it tomorrow, carries a price tag that's bigger than you think. Opportunity doesn't wait around while you decide to get serious. It doesn't tap you on the shoulder twice. The cost of delay isn't just time lost, it's momentum, confidence, income, growth, and the chance to step into who you're supposed to become. When you stall, the world doesn't pause for you, it moves on, and while you're busy thinking, someone else is executing. Opportunities are time sensitive, not because they vanish into thin air, but because the context around them changes. The market shifts, people evolve, needs and timing adjust. That business idea you've been sitting on, someone else already launched a version of it. That dream job you thought about applying for, filled. That conversation you've been putting off, the door to that relationship might already be closed. Delays have a ripple effect. You think you're just waiting a day, but in reality, you're shifting your entire trajectory. One missed window can turn into a completely different outcome, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't ready to move when it mattered. What makes delay so dangerous is how subtle it feels. You don't realize it's happening because the consequences aren't always immediate. You push the deadline, tell yourself you'll circle back, promise to start fresh Monday. It feels harmless until you look back 6 months later and nothing has changed. No launch, no growth, no progress, just more planning, more thinking, more waiting. That's the real danger. The longer you delay, the more comfortable you get with stagnation. You normalize it, and then, without meaning to, you build a life of excuses instead of action. People will say, "I'm not ready yet." But readiness is a myth. You don't get ready. You get going. You figure it out as you move. Delay is often disguised as preparation. We trick ourselves into believing that we need one more piece of information, one more course, one more week to think it through. But that's fear talking, fear of failing, fear of looking foolish, fear of being uncomfortable. The hard truth is that most people delay because it gives them an out. If you don't start, you can't mess up, but you also can't win, and that's the real cost, missing out on the breakthrough because you never gave yourself the chance. There's also a financial cost to delay. Every day you put off building your business, you lose potential revenue. Every day you delay launching your product, you let someone else take your share of the market. Every year you procrastinate investing in yourself, your skills, your education, your brand. You miss out on the return that compound growth brings. The earlier you start, the longer your results have to compound. The later you start, the harder you have to work to catch up. You can't afford to keep thinking you have time when the reality is the clock is always ticking. But it's not just about the opportunities you miss externally. It's about what delay does to you internally. Every time you hesitate, you weaken your self-trust. You teach yourself that you can't be counted on to follow through, and when you don't trust yourself, you second guess everything, your ideas, your instincts, your direction. Delay leads to doubt, and doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Starting, however imperfectly, is what builds belief. Execution is what builds confidence. Waiting for the perfect time just ensures that time passes without you. Let's be honest. The cost of delay is often invisible until it's irreversible. It's the client you could have signed if you had followed up sooner. It's the promotion you didn't get because you weren't prepared when the opportunity showed up. It's the collaboration that never happened because you weren't present in the right room. The painful part is, most of these things don't come with a clear warning sign. You just wake up one day realizing you missed it. That's why urgency matters. That's why discipline matters. Not because it's trendy or motivational, but because it's what keeps you in position to seize the moment when it shows up. You don't control opportunity, but you do control your readiness to meet it. That's the work, that's the mindset, staying sharp, staying available, staying in motion, so when the door opens, you don't hesitate. You walk through. The people who win aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who move, the ones who act before they feel completely ready, the ones who understand that speed matters and that the window doesn't stay open forever. If you're serious about building something meaningful, you can't afford to delay. You can't afford to keep waiting for permission or clarity or motivation. You have to move now because the opportunity cost of delay is real, and it's not just about what you miss, it's about who you miss becoming.